Well, hello, sunshine. Thanks for being here. What we're going to do today is kind of an impromptu video, but we're going to give the dimensions, the ratio, the golden rule on the Ironhorse pipe. Can it be better? Possibly. Can it be worse? Absolutely. Uh, we've got a pretty good, basically a golden rule that you can start from that'll get you to a pipe that's working very well. I didn't release it in the last video, of which I was talking about this, because that's Harvey's design. And I've talked to Harvey. I like talking to him. We talk every once in a while. And I've done some dyno testing, and he gave me some base numbers that he found worked the best on 70cc saws. I've been trying on 50, 55, and bigger and smaller, and I've come up with a pretty good ratio that I was able to test on dyno. So I was able to confirm what he felt. Okay. So his numbers are pretty close to mine, but I've added some numbers to that. He gave me one number, and I've added some more to it to try to help everybody, because that's what Harvey designed this pipe for. He never expected this to be the worst pipe. As a matter of fact, I hope he don't get mad at me saying, he actually confided in me. He said, man, I hope that thing don't work. It's just the ugliest thing ever was, and it's loud. But it worked. And what he was doing, he was looking for a pipe that the everyman could build. Anybody that's got a welder or a friend that's got a welder and a couple pieces of pipe can put this pipe together. And man, you talk about, he succeeded, didn't he? He made something we can all kind of build and get started with. He's not claiming that's the best, but man, it's a darn good working pipe. But you can put this pipe on a saw. If you don't know some dimensions, you can put this pipe on a saw and lose, maybe not lose horsepower, but lose RPMs. You can change that in here just like you could any tuned saw. So I'm gonna put you up above my head here, and we're gonna aim down at the table. I've got my feed sacks out over here, and I've got some stuff drew out for you, and I'm gonna try to make this probably a short video and a simple video, very little editing. Because it's going to go in ahead of some other videos, because I seen the need to make this video now. So I'm going to try to get that done. Bear with me. It ain't going to be a super duper fabulous type video, but it's going to be informative. If you guys like that. Now I'm going to forewarn you, there's going to be a little bit of math involved here, and I'm going to leave that on you. I'm not going to give you exact, you need this size of pipe or that size of pipe and this long, because that's going to change from saw to saw and cc's to cc's, and actually could do on your porting, but we're still going to make it very simple. Now, my ratios, I base, here's a piston, combustion chamber, the top of the exhaust port, right? So when that piston's coming up, from right here to right here is what I'm worried about for a volume. That's what I'm calling the compression displacement. Not the full displacement of the saw, but just from the exhaust port to the top, right? And we're going to call that compression displacement, right? Now, that's one thing you're going to need. Now, if you haven't taken your saw apart, we can shoot at this pretty close, right? So let's say, for argument's sake, most saws are at maybe 100 degrees exhaust. Well, we know it's 180 up and down, so 100 over 180 goes 10 over 18, which goes 5 over 9, which is 45%. No, that's 55%. Sorry, that's 55%. Now, what did that all mean? What that means is, if you don't take this measurement with the cylinder off, you could just take 55% of the total displacement and probably get close. But it's easiest to turn your full displacement into compression displacement, whether you do it by measurement or whether you do it by taking like 55% of your total displacement. And the reason I want to do it to compression displacement is the ratio works out real well that way. Nice even numbers that we could just remember. So we're going to go with our compression displacement, right? Now, a second A second measurement I'm going to want is basically from front to back of the muffler. On that Husqvarna 455, that was about 3 inches. Okay. The reason I'm going to do that from front to back of the muffler is I assume that the engineers at Husqvarna, Steel, Poland, Pioneer, Homelight, Craftsman, wherever, I assume they've got that distance just where they want it. So I want to be pretty close to that distance. Is it imperative that I have that distance? No, I don't think so. It's more imperative that I have the correct volume, but I like basing that volume on that distance. So the two things we need to know are compression, displacement, and this distance. Okay, I'm not worried about this distance. These are the only two I need, this one and this one. Now that's my start. Now you guys are going to have to use your imagination here just a little bit. But let's call this the main tube of the pipe coming out, right? I want this main tube to be as long as the muffler, give or take, but I want it to be the same as the compression displacement above that exhaust roof. I want this volume to be the same as my compression volume. Compression displacement, however you want to say it. I want that to be the same. And I'm going to choose a pipe of this diameter that will let me have this volume in the length that my muffler was. Meaning if I took a bigger pipe, it would be short, or if I took a smaller diameter pipe to get the same displacement, it would be long. So I'm hunting me a piece of pipe that will get the volume, 100% of compression displacement volume in the length. That's why I'll pick up some little different pieces of pipe that vary just a little bit at a time. Now, the second pipe coming off of here, I want to be 30% of the compression displacement, or 30% of this pipe, because we're at 100%. So whatever my compression displacement was, I want this pipe at 100% of it, and I want my stinger at 30% of it, okay? Now there's a third measurement that's also critical. Very, very, very critical. There's two things I see on a lot of Ironhorse pipes, and I assume they're not going to work good just by looking at them. Number two, a lot of times this pipe is way back here. There's too much ahead of that pipe, right? You want 10% of the compression displacement ahead of this saw, or ahead of this hole. Not ahead of the center, but ahead of the opening of that hole. Now, since this is 100% compression displacement and this is 10% compression displacement, as long as that's a straight pipe, it also works out to 10% of the length. So if this is a 4-inch pipe, I would want 0.4 inches right here. Or if that's 38 cc's, I want 3.8 cc's right here. That's what determines where this stinger pipe goes, the distance ahead of that. Now, the third dimension would be the length of this stinger. So to kind of recap where we're at so far, here's an Ironhorse pipe. Looking at it from the very top, the main body is right here. That's 100% of our displacement volume. The stinger coming out to the side is 30% of our displacement volume. It's set back to where the opening of this pipe is 10% back from the end wall, right? Now, in order for this to be 30%, I also want it as long as possible, right out over the chain. Meaning if I got a bigger pipe that was 30%, it would only be that long. I don't want that. You're going to get two things out of that. If you run that stinger pipe too short, you're going to get two things out of it. You're going to get a decreased RPMs, and you're going to get that loud, obnoxious crack. I don't like that. I do like the Ironhorse pipe. Matter of fact, I run it on one of my go-to firewood saws, but it's got a longer stinger on it. and that volume is 30% of the compression. That works fine. So if you got to get a smaller pipe to get it stretched out there farther, you'll love life a whole lot better. You'll have a better working pipe, and it'll be quieter, more horsepower and quieter. How can you beat that? It just needs a little bit longer pipe. Of course, a short pipe looks cool and has the crack. Make good videos. You're losing power, and they're not as comfortable to be around. Now, there's a couple more considerations that Harvey hasn't really spoke about that I remember, and we both know him. I just don't know if he's ever put it out there, so I'm going to tell you that too. Another thing that's important is, of course, here's your piston, here's your cylinder again. When that piston breaks right here, that air's rushing down. It's coming from out here and going straight down because that piston's right here and that first one's coming down. You want to follow that angle. You want to run that pipe down as low as you can. I see most of the pipes that people build are coming down and going out, right? And if that goes straight out, your air, if that pipe was going straight out, let's just draw them about straight out. If that pipe was going straight out, well, I done it for the cylinder wall, but you get it. I just messed it up. But you get it. You get where I'm getting at is this does not have a very good angle of attack to get that exhaust out. It's coming right down here and straightening out. Where if it gets to come down here where this is at, we get so much more, and we're carrying this down. We got a nicer flow. That's very important to put some power in that saw. So I'm going to recap one more time here, and just a little bit different. The main pipe, we want that 100% of compression displacement. We want it out at about the same length as the muffler, and we want it angled downward. The stinger, we want that as long as practical, meaning out to the edge of over the bar. Longer's more RPM, longer's more pull. Shorter, you'll get the obnoxious noise. Shorter, you'll get the less power. And shorter, you'll make better videos. And we want that to be 30% of the compression displacement. So the length and diameter of both of these, they must complement each other, right? For them to work well. And that must be placed. I'm going to throw up a picture here on top of my Husqvarna again. You want that outlet pipe to be placed at the top of the main tube. That causes a lot better flow, and you can see the wash pattern inside your saw with that. Guys, I'm sitting here recording this right now, and as I'm recording it, I know it's going to be rough to edit because I'm just talking off the cuff, and I hope it all made sense. If it didn't make sense, get down there in the comments. Like I say, I don't know that I'm doing Harvey justice. I don't know that he wanted to present it either. He offered that I could. I didn't want to step on his toes as his design. And Harvey was right at spot on the numbers. He suggested it was around 5/8 was the volume of the main pipe. And I'm coming up with, and he was basing it off of full compression, full displacement, full cc's of the saw, and I come up with 5/9. It's a little bit different, but it's pretty similar. And I had a dyno to help me out to try to determine that. And guys, if you guys have any better suggestions, let me know. If you guys want to see some more muffler testing, you let me know that too. And we're going to have some on the way, and we're going to try it without even a muffler on there at some point. That's going to be a little bit later. On a test mule saw. I don't know, I might do it on that Husqvarna or any number of them other saws that are sitting back there. But yeah, we want to get back into muffler testing again and dyno testing the crud out of them like we did before. But guys, I appreciate it. I know this wasn't too great of a video. It ain't going to edit well, but I appreciate you guys that stuck around. You know, give her the old Julius Caesar Herner. Give her your hitchhiker if I didn't. And have a big time, y'all.